There is no deadline on a bid. There is no deadline on the potential transfer of Erling Haaland this summer. Borussia Dortmund are struggling to find the £26 million fee needed for the PSV forward Haaland. Chelsea are readying a £150 million bid. Thomas Tuchel wants Haaland immediately, and Dortmund offer a very, very weak stance on their position on this potential transfer. Hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the Football Terrace. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. A good morning to each and every single one of you. What a weekend of sport in store. There is huge MMA and UFC fights tonight. Absolutely massive. Wimbledon finals, Copa America, Euro 2020. But the transfer window rolls on. And the situation regarding Haaland is, I think, is just as these international tournaments are coming to an end, the transfer market is about to pick up with gargantuan speed, and the situation surrounding Haaland is an interesting one. Chelsea fans have been a little bit panicky, a little bit flappy, I would say, in the past week or two in relation to, where's the news, what's going on. There was never going to be as many transfer activities, as deals, as much news as last year when 7 or 8 players were signed by the football club. It is a far more targeted, meticulous, pinpoint approach this summer. 1 or 2 players are going to be added to this fantastic squad that Thomas Tuchel has. Right at the top of that list, Erling Haaland, his name has always been there. Yes, work has been done around Lukaku. That continues. Inroads were made towards Harry Kane. And of course, Chelsea have explored the option of some makeshift strikers should none of these deals be landed, because there's no guarantees in the market. But in the last 24 hours, a number of updates have come out, a number of new pieces of information in relation to Haaland's transfer and where he may or may not end up. Now, let's go back to the beginning of this for a moment. As confirmed by Dean Jones on the Done Deal show right here exclusively on the Football Terrace on Tuesday, Haaland wants to join Chelsea. He's open to the idea. He has been impressed with their development and their change under Thomas Tuchel. Of course, winning a Champions League helps. And maybe 6 months to a year ago under Frank Lampard, Chelsea wasn't really an option for Haaland. That has changed. He is legitimately interested in joining the Stamford Bridge outfit. Thomas Tuchel, and the news that's come out yesterday, is that he wants him immediately. Thomas Tuchel has informed the hierarchy at Chelsea that he does not want to wait and potentially lose out on Haaland next summer. Yes, he's going to be cheaper, 64, 65 million pound, depending on inflation or the exchange rate. But essentially, 65 million pound deal is available next year. But Thomas Tuchel doesn't want to wait. He wants Chelsea to go out and break the bank now. What needs to be remembered in relation to this, and what was revealed in the last 24 hours, is that Roman and Chelsea are absolutely head over heels in love, if you want to be blunt about it, with Thomas Tuchel. They are going to move heaven and earth, and they are looking to break the bank to get this deal done. At the same time, what's being claimed out of Germany and from the continent is that Dortmund don't want to sell Haaland. Why would they? Why would they want to lose him this year? But at the same time, a deal that breaks the bank could get this deal done. Now, what I found really interesting in the last 2 days as well is, one, the news that's come out that the Dortmund are really struggling to come together to sign the PSV and Holland forward Haaland. They're struggling to find £26 million, irrespective of receiving £73 million for Sancho. There's all these claims there's no financial problems at the club. I'm not saying they're destitute and they're in the same situations as an Inter or an Atletico Madrid, but there certainly appears to be a few cash flow problems there. A big money offer from Chelsea Football Club could tip the weight. And then we saw, as revealed by Fabrizio Romano this morning, and this is the most telling element to me. The stance from the Borussia Dortmund sporting director, Michael Zock. He said, nothing has changed. We are still planning for Haaland for the new season. Now, this comes after the German publication almost challenged their stance yesterday quite publicly around, well, you're telling us he's staying, but the report suggests that a big money offer could change things. That hasn't been denied. That hasn't been played down. That hasn't been debunked. That hasn't been thrown out. That hasn't been laughed at. At no point, and if you can find me the quotes, please bring them to me right now. I want to be educated on this. At no point have Dortmund said, for love nor money, we're not selling. At no point have Dortmund said, whether it's 100, 150, 200, 500, a billion, we are not selling Haaland. It's simply the same generic, banal statement of we're planning for next season with him. Of course you're going to say that. The same way that football clubs say things like, nah, Alexis Sanchez has still got a future at Man United, and 2 days later he's sold. Stereotypical approach here from Borussia Dortmund. This deal is on. Chelsea have been doing lots of work behind the scene. That still continues. A bid is likely to be submitted. Chelsea, notoriously late bidders. And a real big thing, again, that Fabrizio Romano revealed, and a number of other sources have now confirmed this to be true, there is no deadline. That no deadline, for me, is a signal that's saying, listen, you pay 150 or a sum around that figure, around that amount, and he's yours. Whether Chelsea bid today or the final day of the season. I think one of the biggest areas that Chelsea are looking for a little bit more encouragement in is for Haaland to push a little bit harder, for them to categorically know that he's going to come. Yes, he's interested. Yes, he would like to sign, and there is the element of the personal terms there, but there is just that want that, okay, I'm ready now to get this done. That's part of it. The other element is looking at it from a financial standpoint. The financial standpoint is very, very, very important here. Chelsea needs to make sure that they're not stung in the backside later on down the line with financial fair play. They have to look at the rest of the squad. Who's up and due for contract renewals? Who's going to come and knock on the door for more money? Can they then afford that? These things are all being worked on. That is a slow process. The process around getting this deal done is always going to be slow, and I'll explain why that is a little bit later. But I want your views and I want your opinions on this. Chelsea Football Club want to sign Haaland immediately. This is fact. Tuchel wants Haaland this summer. Haaland is excited about the idea of playing for Chelsea. He views him as a great place for him to go at this stage in his career. He's happy with the personal terms that they would offer. And at no point have Dortmund set a deadline, and at no point have Dortmund said categorically that we will not sell for love nor money at any level, any amount of money that comes in. This is an open door. It is in Chelsea's hand. If they make the bid and the structure is right, they sign Haaland this summer. Now, a lot of journalists, I'm not a journalist, so I don't need to worry about my credibility because I'm a host of a show. I pick up the information. 99% of the information I pick up from what's out there in the ether, and I give you my view. This is how I'm reading the situation. If you disagree, I'd love to hear from you. I want your thoughts and feelings. That's exactly what the Football Terrace is here for. But for me, this deal is open. This deal is available because no one's put in. Last year, there was deadlines for Sancho. There was we're definitely keeping him next season, no matter what happens. Now the deadline has passed. Where are those statements on this situation? Dortmund have gone back on those kind of those statements before. If Man United would have bid the 109 million on the deadline, we'd have got him last year as well. There wasn't even that deadline. Still, for me, was a bit of a fugazi, a bit of a PR stunt. It's in Chelsea's hands to get this deal done. I want your views. I want your opinions. We're going to update you as well on Saul Niguez a little bit later. And I do have some massive Liverpool news. I've just got to wait for some confirmation from a very credible journalist that I've been talking to behind the scenes that I'm allowed to go public with the information that he shared with me. I've got it private. Can't go live with it now, purely out of respect, because he's putting together an article. And of course, I'm never going to reveal someone's transfer news before they release it via their publication and, for them to earn their money, etc. Do me a favor and smash that like button this morning. Let's get this past 500 likes while we're live on the air, please. Get that done. A lot of you talking UFC in the comments section as well. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait for that. Someone here says talking in the background. I don't know what that means. Rachel, thank you very much for signing up and becoming a first team member of the Football Terrace. That means an absolute great deal to us here. It truly, truly does. Thank you very much for doing that. Michael here with a super chat says Haaland, Kai, Pulisic, Tammy, Werner, Mount up top, all 23 and under, building for the future, great business sense. City and Liverpool aging up top. And that's true. That can't be denied. That is an absolute cast iron fact as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, I missed a few of these super chats. I'm not going to be able to put them up on the screen. I apologize massively. We've got one here from, I'm really struggling to pronounce the name here. Asaya Haig, I think that's how it's pronounced. Liverpool fan says, don't you think his salary destabilizes the rest of the squad? I bet you he will earn at least 450,000. Well, I did speak to a journalist about this yesterday who said to me that actually Haaland's salary could actually be a little bit lower than first anticipated. It could actually be sort of between the 12 and 15 million pound a year mark as a base. That doesn't smash Chelsea's transfer budget and structure of their salary too much. So there'll be heavy incentives on top of that, but you could pick him up for between 12 and 15 million a year. It still would make him one of the highest paid players. But the caveat to all of that is no one else in Europe is scoring like him that's attainable and that has all the years in front of him. And even, by the way, even if it's a player that Chelsea only keep hold of for 3 or 4 years, they're going to sell him for it. They're going to make a profit on this geezer. So there's rationale to it. So I don't think it will. They've got to look at how it could destabilize, and I don't think it's a destabilization in terms of morale. It's can we afford everybody else's pay rises? As soon as you start paying one person more and they're successful, everybody's wages increase. It's why Man United generally speaking, will pay higher wages than smaller clubs. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just the nature of the beast. If you work in certain tech companies, pay a lot more in salary than others. And once you're there, though, you can't. Once you're in the door, that's the salary structure within that organization. It's just the way things are. Dinesh says, "Morning, Terry. Do you think Harry Kane's value will increase after the Euros?" I don't think his valuation will increase, but the sale price could. The sale price could if he's delivering, wins that trophy, etc., and everything else. Because, well, maybe the valuation will. Maybe I'm chatting nonsense here. Actually, from a marketing point of view, if England win, the marketability, the love towards Harry Kane is going to grow. He will probably, if England win tomorrow, become a Sir by the end of the year, along with Raheem Sterling, Gareth Southgate, maybe Maguire, you know. Terry, are you looking forward to the blockbuster comedy that's coming out next year? Arsenal All or Nothing. How do you feel if United did this? I would love Man United to do it because I would love to see what's going on behind the scenes. I think the Arsenal situation is so interesting because when City did it, it was one of their greatest ever. It was almost like it. I always felt like it played a small part in them being so good. What happens this year is going to be shown on streamed, but it's going to be beaming for everybody's TVs around the world. If we're acting like plebs, if we perform badly, we are going to look stupid. Spurs, it exposed the club. So from an Arsenal point of view, this could almost be the making of this team under Arteta, but it could also be the straw that breaks the camel's back at the same time. As a football fan, I'm intrigued to see what it's like. I'm intrigued to see some behind the scenes footage. I'm intrigued to see the reaction. You know, it was all very telling when we saw the way the Dele Allis of this world were reacting to Jose Mourinho's football. Things never really got any. Things went backwards for Tottenham after that show was released as well, because I think because of the exposure. So yeah, for me, very, very interesting indeed. There's no doubt about it. Very interesting. Let's do some of these comments that are coming through here. Let's have a little look here at these comments. Hi, Terry. I'm a Gooner from South Africa, and I love the Football Terrace, the only podcast that makes sense. Well, I appreciate you. Listen, there's a lot of good football podcasts and shows out there, but I appreciate you that very much. The Shed End says I can deal with 300K per week. Yeah, and that's what it could be. It could be in and around that figure. And, you know, maybe, just maybe, the we want £1 million a week was them it's interesting, those big salaries that were being spoke about from a Haaland point of view. I'm not so much saying they've gone away, but there's been no confirmation of what he's actually asked for at this point, at this moment. So it could work out no matter what. When people banter Ollie, it's the same as when you guys mock Maguire. You follow what is trending. And do you know what's... Of course, part of banter is always going to be what's on trend. There's a big debate. I was in a space last night talking about this. The Ollie debate, I just feel, is dead now, in the sense of you're either against it. Most people are either fully against him or fully with him. And I feel that both of those stances are wrong. I think, like me, do I think he's good enough? No. Do I understand why he's here? Yes. Do I think he's going to win us a Premier League? No. Do I think we're going to regress massively under him? No. Like I'm just there. Do I think do I actually believe that we're truly in a position now for a world-class manager to come in terms of everything, the squad, the structure, the running of the club? I actually don't. I've thought about it a lot this summer, and I want to see the football, the director of football, a little bit more ingrained. I want to see the processes for another season maybe in place, and then we look to move on to a new coach as well. And the most important thing is that at the end of Ollie's tenure, we continue in the direction that we've been sailing in, and whatever that is. None of us know what it is. The club do. If we suddenly bring in a new manager that wants to change 10, 15 members of our squad within a year or two, I'm just finished. I'm finished with the club, because it tells me you've learnt nothing. And that's where Ollie outers, I just don't think they're listening to that element. It's all, I just want instant gratification as opposed to looking to the big picture. Whereas the Ollie inners, they're not thinking about the big picture. They're just desperate for a man they love and respect and not lose his job. Neither, in my opinion, in my view, are actually thinking about the football club in a medium to long-term process. They all say they are. I just don't necessarily believe them. I just don't. So yeah, on that one there. Ginger Fury says, is it really logic spending over 150 million just for a couple of years? His agent will move him around like Zlatan. Well, he'll only be able to move around like Zlatan if he delivers. If Chelsea bring him in, it won't be a couple of years. I would say it'd be 3 to 4. Say they get 3 years out of him. If Haaland delivers, and this is my opinion here, Ginger Fury, if Haaland delivers to how I think he can, then that would be about 120 to 150 goals in 3 years. They'll win another Champions League with him, and they'll win a Premier League or 2 with him, as long as Tuchel's still there. If they've done all of that, and then he wants to move on, Chelsea are getting 200 to 250 million pounds for him. Within 3 years' time, there'll be big streaming companies doing major TV deals. Even though it won't be on TV, it'll be streaming. The money in football will grow and increase further. The sponsorship levels are going to keep rising. I think by then FFP may be scrapped or amended to a certain degree, where more money can be pumped in by owners of rich clubs. And the pandemic will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, long past us. The economical situation will have improved in the countries and around the football clubs that would be interested in Haaland, and they'll raise huge money for him. And then there'll be another striker that Chelsea can turn to, and Chelsea can go to, and Chelsea can develop, and Chelsea will continue to win, as they have done during the whole Roman era. So for me, it's logical, but of course there's a risk. You spend it and he absolutely turns out to be a terrible signing, you'll lose money on him, you'll be stuck with him, etc., etc. But the Haaland deal it's not even the first of its kind. Look how much Coutinho went for. Look how much Neymar and Kylian Mbappe went for. But they're going to become more and more frequent. And at the moment, spending over 100 million pounds on a player seems alien. It seems, it's too much. In 10 years' time, we're not going to think about it. And do you know how I know this is a fact? Because 10, 15 years ago, when people were dropping 25, 30 millions, 40 millions, we couldn't believe it. Then we moved into the realms of 50s. Then we went into the realms of 70s and 80s. Now we're moving into the realms of 100 millions pluses. Right now, 60, 70, 80 million doesn't sound like a lot of money anymore in football, because we become accustomed to it. It becomes the normality. And that's what's going to happen here. It's always been the same. You know, if you you think about how much like technology costs. When technology first got, I remember the first DVD player my dad got me and my brother. I remember going into like a digital. I want to see how much it cost. I was weird like that. Got it for Christmas. Went into like a Dixon's and looked at it. The thing was like 350 quid. I think within about 6 years, you could buy a DVD player that actually, and this was such a new, it wouldn't play pirates either. Do you know what I mean? The boys, my boys, I got some pirates. It wouldn't work on my £350 DVD player. 5 years later, Tesco was selling DVD players for $13.99 that played the pirates. Like, it's just, sometimes things are really expensive when they first come out, and then the valuation drops and everyone starts paying a lot less. Some things just continue to get more and more expensive as time goes on, like a home. That's and that's the thing. I think what football fans have got to realize is that the cost of football players isn't like technology, which generally speaking, as new technology comes out, items become cheaper, barring the new stuff. It's the opposite type of spending. It's asset based, like almost like a home to a certain degree, that just as time moves forward, they become more expensive. The house I bought, the price I paid for it, if I went back in the time machine 15 years and went, Dad, this is how much this house is costing, he'd have called me a nutcase for spending it. Now he says, it's good value. So it's I think sometimes we view the football. The reason I went to the first example is I think sometimes as football fans, we think about it, the cost of football is in a kind of inverted way, if that makes sense. There's another super chat that came through here. I want to put this up on the screen. Hats off to you, Terry, for creating the best football show on planet Earth. Even way better than the mainstream media. Love from San Diego. I appreciate that, bro. And all the way from San Diego, that's an honor. And that's one of the things I love about this platform is the fact we're sitting here day in, day out, speaking to people from all around the world. Absolutely amazing. So thank you very, very much indeed. I'm going to share the link now for you to phone up and for you to have your say, for you to come on and have a little bit of a chat with us. I'm going to put it into some of the group chats first, the Legends and Superfan group chat, first of all, to give our legends an opportunity to come on and speak. I want to get that done. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Where are these group chats? I'm in so many group chats now, right? I lose track of things. It's in that group chat. Got to put it in with the panel group chat as well, and I'll share it with you guys in just a few short moments. Let's go to some more of your comments that have come through here. Listen, my guy, thank you for signing up to become an academy member of the Football Terrace. Thank you very much indeed. There's only one team Mbappe is going to, and that's Real Madrid. That's highly likely. That is highly likely to be true. Why can't Man United go for Haaland? It just isn't a priority and where the money needs to be spent right now. There's a lot of talk that United will not even be looking at a new striker at the beginning of next season, if we're being honest. Someone here's laughing at the word immediately. Yes, I mean, Chelsea want him immediately. They want to sign him immediately. Absolutely. Terry, you're the only person who makes a lot of sense. Your views and opinions are always consistent and have helped me view the game differently. You have also helped me with my mental health. Thank you. Listen, the mental health element, was never my intention, but if it's a byproduct of what we do, then it's humbling and it's amazing. So thank you. In terms of making sense, I try. I try. And the consistency element, I try my best to remain as level-headed as possible when I'm talking about other people's teams. But thank you. Roman is going for the short term. I don't necessarily think he is, if I'm being honest. I don't think he is going for the short term, really. Thank you, Marvo, that you think I'm spitting facts. I appreciate that. Why do you want a new trainer? Okay, that's an interesting one. Terry, what team do you think will have the best transfer window? If Chelsea land Haaland, it's going to be very, very difficult to look beyond them. Because I look at transfer windows in this way. It isn't, let's list the players let's look at everybody's shopping lists and who got what. It's what those players do and bring to your team. That's it. Haaland makes Chelsea Premier League champions. However, if City land Grealish and Kane at the same time, I mean, I don't literally mean at the same time as each other, in the same summer as Chelsea sign Haaland, that changes things. Changes things hugely. hugely. There's no doubt about that. Why do you think the first bid for Haaland when do I think it will be made? Honestly, until a few days ago, before we knew the deadline was gone, I thought it would come before the 23rd, 24th of July. Chelsea notoriously late bidders. So I wouldn't be surprised if this even protrudes the beginning of the Premier League season. That wouldn't surprise me at all. There's 7 weeks remaining of this transfer window to get this done. And remember, an official bid won't be made until Chelsea get told that it's going to be accepted. That's the way things work now. So all the tier ones, when they speak about this, they won't say a bid's been made. They'll say it's not advanced. They'll say all the normal cliches, one, to protect the clubs that they're getting the information from and to slightly protect themselves as well. They won't go out on a limb, as far as I'm concerned. But for me, whether you make a formal bid or an informal bid, it's a fucking bid. And everyone with a brain knows this. Fans know this as well. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. Fab said there is no deadline date for Haaland. Absolutely, he did. I saw that. It is what it is. It is what it is. Here is the comment actually from Michael Zork about Haaland. He says nothing has changed. We are still planning with Haaland for the new season. Yeah, of course, and they are planning. But if Chelsea bid, the world changes. The world changes if and when Chelsea bid. That has always been the case with this situation. We will give you a bit of an update on that soon. I'm going to speak about the Saul Niguez situation now. I'm going to before I do that, though, I'm going to run a poll. We always put the big question out to yourselves on every single show here. It's a real simple one today. Will Chelsea sign Haaland? Actually, I'm not doing will Chelsea sign Haaland. Okay. How many goals will Haaland score for Chelsea next season? I'm going to be really bullshit with this, right? So we're going to put some options in here, right? How many goals? So I'm going to put in like 0 to 10, 11 to 20, right? We'll do 21 to 35. That's the real big push. And then we're going to do 36 plus. They're the options that we're putting into the poll today. That poll's going all comps, always all comps, because Chelsea fighting all comps. So get voting on that for us. We're going to share the link as well now for you to come on and have your say. Love to hear what your thoughts and your feelings are on everything going on. I'll pin that comment to the top of the chat box. But let's get this past 500 likes while we're live on the air. Just a quick update again on what's happening in relation to the Haaland situation. Chelsea and Tuchel want to sign him immediately. They want to sign him immediately. This is fact. Chelsea are working and readying a deal for £150 million, 130 up front, that we structured over a 3 to 4 year period with £20 million of bonuses. There are financial problems at Dortmund. Dortmund have not denounced, debunked, or pushed away the rumor that he could be leaving this summer. That is simply not happened at this moment in time. There is no deadline for the player arriving. Haaland would like to come to Chelsea. This is lined up for Roman to pull off the biggest transfer deal in Premier League history, the biggest deal in top 6 history, the biggest deal in Chelsea's history. It is in Chelsea's hands to get this deal done. It's on Roman. It's on the club. They can absolutely wreck the Premier League next year with this signing. It's just whether or not they trigger it. It's whether or not they decide to go for it in the end, essentially. Links out for you to phone in and have your say. Currently on that poll, straight away, loads of votes. 53% think he'll score between 21 and 35 goals in all competitions. 13% above 36 goals, 36 or above. 22% believe he'll get 20 or less, which is a very interesting one for me. First on the show with us today, my guys here. Kai's in the house. Is it morning? It is morning. I actually forgot what time of the day it was. Kids had me up early today, bro. Early. Kai's here. What you saying, mate?
Yo, Terry, how are you? Good morning.
Yeah, I'm very, very well, mate. What's your take on all the latest information that's come out about this Haaland deal? And what do you think Chelsea are going to do?
I'll believe it when I see more rumors about it. I'm tired of all this. Like Chelsea are monitoring. Chelsea, Chelsea are like the guy with the Vayor, like fucking just sitting there and just staring at the players from a distance and doing nothing, man. And you know what? And you remember when the first thing that the rumors about Haaland came out, and I was like, I came on the show and I told you, I don't know, for me, it's giving me like vibes from 2014, 2015, 2016. When we won the league and then the season with Conte, it's giving me the same thing. I hope I'm wrong, man, because Chelsea needs a striker. Chelsea needs, like yesterday I saw I saw I saw the list of strikers that Chelsea provided for Eden Hazard, and I'm like, I'm surprised that guy was so successful at Chelsea. We had Moratas and who else did we have? Like, we had so many trash players, and for me, I would just be happy with a Haaland or a Lukaku. But at the same time, I don't see Chelsea paying out of the odds for those players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do get. I think what's interesting is, I've spoke to a few journalists about this, and one journalist I was given some information from who's very well versed in the Chelsea space, and they've just said that Chelsea at the moment, what they're saying is that Chelsea fans just need to remain relaxed. They're not looking at a number of deals. It's looking at a big deal, a Haaland. They are still speaking, and what I find interesting is the Lukaku one is the one that's interesting for me. People keep wanting to play it down. No, he said he's staying. He said he's staying. He said he's staying. But then you speak to most professionals who are just like, yeah, he said he's staying, but let's wait and see what actually happens when he returns to preseason, the mood at the camp. Who else leaves? Harry, how things feel and stack up. But I think Chelsea will attempt something big, and I think if they don't get it done, I almost think Chelsea are relaxed about it. Well, they say, "Well, we'll go again next year," because the squad's in such a good space. So I don't think you'll do something like, okay, we haven't got Haaland, so let's go and sign Danny Ings. Or let's go grab Callum Wilson from Newcastle. I don't think anything like that's. I don't think what you'll do is what you did with Morata, where it was we missed out on our main targets, so let's just sign Morata for a body. I don't think you'll do that.
You know what would kill me? Take away all the appetite from my soul. You know what I mean? If Chelsea signs Declan Rice, and they do sign like a secondary striker, I would be just devastated. Because that's the least thing we need is a DM, and if we do, Chelsea needs a striker. I don't know how critical the board think that the striker priority is, but if they don't get the striker, it's just back to top four. I think at the moment, United have a more balanced squad than us. I think you have more senior players than us. I think City will 100% improve if they're what's the director of football or the president, I don't forget his name, or the CEO came out and he said, we're going to sign some players this season. You can trust City are going to sign some players. So I am worried because I do want Chelsea to compete for the Premier League again, because it's been, 5 years now? So yeah, I don't know. It worries me. It worries me. I want to trust Marina, but it seems that she's buying everything but players, man. And, I'm starting to worry.
Yeah, listen, I do get that, but as I say, I spoke to about 3 or 4 different journalists this week about Chelsea, and I kind of posed that question to them: should Chelsea fans be worried or concerned? And they've all just said no, including Fabrizio, who I didn't do. He just said that off of his own back. So right now, I'd say remain relaxed, but I do get the concern because
but it kills me, Terry. It kills me. You know why? Because Fabrizio Romano says Chelsea will sign a striker. Okay, that's great, man. But there's like difference between someone like Demba and somebody like Haaland, man. Each striker is good. It's like going to a club and picking up a girl. There's a difference between picking up a 5, picking up a 9, man. At the end of the day, when it's 2 a.m. and all you have are the girls that nobody else wants, man, that's not a good look. So that's what I'm worried about with Chelsea right now. You know what I mean?
I do hear you. I do hear you, Kai. Listen, my guy, enjoy your Saturday, bro, and we'll speak soon. Top man. Cheers.
Care, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We got a new member on the terrace, legend and super fan. Thank you very, very much. You have to when you join the group chat. The group chat is available on the community page of the Football Terrace for all legends and super fans. Join that private group chat. I'll be doing some updates during the UFC for you guys on that as well tonight in that private group chat. A few streams, a few videos. You're gonna have to let me know how to pronounce your name properly, though, sir. I am struggling in relation to that. But thank you for joining up. Anyone can become a member of the Football Terrace. All you have to do is go into our description below. There in our kind of ways to follow and support. There's the link to become a member. If you're struggling to find that, I've posted it in the live comment section. You can join from as little as 99p per month. Let's get this stream past 500 likes, please. Next on the show, then we're going to give you the Saul Niguez update. I think it's a very, very important one. Jem is with us. Morning, mate. Welcome back to the show. Long time no speak. More Haaland news. And are you thinking a bit like Ty, or are you a bit more relaxed?
I'm relaxed. I don't really understand. Sometimes I wonder with Chelsea fans if they they should understand their football club. Like, they know how we move. We've always moved in the mist, and I really feel like this deal has got a stench of like the Kai Havertz deal last season, where there was a lot of talks around us getting him. You know, Chelsea interested in him. Not much movement from the board. The club themselves actually showing that interest. Actually, you know, laying their cards in many ways. I just think we have to be patient. The deal itself is a big deal. It's not something that can just be done straight away. Chelsea and Marina have always done their deal in the dark. It's just how we move. We're not going to allow Tammy and Giroud to leave this club and not sign a striker. It's just it doesn't make any sense. I don't think Chelsea is stupid enough to do that. So the fact that Giroud's left, the fact that there's a possibility that Tammy may go, that only leaves you with one out-and-out striker within our football club, Timo Werner, and that's just not enough to compete in all four competitions. I do think that if they're allowing people to leave the football club, it's because they've got plans or they know that they've got someone coming through that door. And I just feel like with the Erling Haaland deal, I feel more confident that we're going to get him than not. I just feel like that we just need to be patient, and I understand why Chelsea fans panic with Chelsea, but we have no reason to panic this early in the transfer window, Terry. You know, so I think we just got to wait, mate.
I completely agree with you on that, mate. I think it's just I understand people's frustration, and I understand people's wants and desires for this deal to be done soon, but it's a hard deal. And do you know what I think is interesting? I kind of tweeted about this the other day, and it's not a moan from me because people watch what they want to watch, and it's something I'm going to be adding to the Done Deal show. It's context to what phrases within the transfer market mean. So when people say Liverpool's situation with Saul Niguez is not advanced, I want to understand what that journalist's interpretation of advanced means. And I'll give you an example. Putting in an informal bid is less advanced than submitting an official bid. But submitting an official bid is a lot less advanced than the player on his way to the training ground to sign the paperwork. Yeah. So for me, where is the line that says it's advanced? When a journalist says Chelsea are monitoring the situation, what does that mean in the context of transfers in terms of because like any process, you know this, you run a business, you sell things. There is a process from inception to birth of a project or a deal. And whenever you work in the industry, you'll know where you are in that process.
Of course.
And that's the one thing for me that these tier one journalists are stopping giving us. They give us the same, almost for every transfer update that we're given at the moment by tier ones, it's the same words, but they cut out the players and clubs' names and insert someone different. They all say the same thing: monitoring situations, readying a bid, ready to submit, player terms no issue, or player terms agreed, waiting for this, not at advanced stage yet. Like, okay, but what does that mean? Explain it to us. And I think that's the bit for me that's starting to become frustrating, because what was happening 2 or 3 years ago is journalists were giving us those updates. And then it's what I love about Dean Jones. I love about Pete and a few others out there. I love about Matt Law, who's brilliant at it. Chris Waitley's brilliant at it. And a few others is they give you what they're being told, and then they give you their opinion and interpretation. Now, I know that a lot of journalists don't want to give opinions anymore because stupid viewers, no one on the terrace does this, but viewers with no brains, they take an opinion as fact. That's because actually we've messed up in this world now. Opinions now count for facts for a lot of people. So let's say Matt Law says, I'm told Chelsea are monitoring the situation. The player is really keen on coming. And then he goes, in my opinion, though, I don't think Chelsea will bid. People, they confuse him. He's been given with his opinion. They're completely isolated, non-exclusive things. You know, they're not mutually exclusive of each other. And that's the thing for me that frustrates me. Like we're getting given such watered down bollocks now.
Yeah, but
because journalists are being abused so much.
Yes, and that you just said it. What I was about to say. It's protection. It's protection. So they may be told a lot more than what they're actually telling us, but they don't want to put they don't want to put their necks out there, and that's all it is. It's just a protection thing, I think, in terms of them not getting thrown under the bus if it goes south and it doesn't come through. You know,
and sometimes there are no updates. So people say things like, "Oh, I'm bored of these deals now." We'll stop asking about them then.
Yeah,
or watching stuff about them, because for me, it's this. Again, every business has processes, but can you think of, barring running of the country, how many other business processes do people care about? And what I mean by that is, no one is sitting there going, "Oh, listen, we've got to get on the phone here to HSBC and see how they're negotiating that contract with Joyce from number 27 about a remortgage." Let's do a news bulletin on it. No one cares about that process, right?
Nice.
But with football transfers, it's everyone wants to know every second what's going on.
Yeah.
And sales processes like this are slow. They're not quick. So it's almost a case of, nothing's changed since last week. Why? Well, because the club's working on another thing. It's mad to me that people are just sort of, I look at it from the point, I enjoy the ride. I love it because I love sales processes. And that's all this is at the end of the day.
100%.
But there we go. I mean, how confident are you though about Haaland coming in?
Gonna put my neck on the line.
Yeah, put your neck on the line.
I am. Yeah, I'd say 70%. I'm more confident than I am not confident. I think there's just too much talk around it. And like I said before, it's just got a stench of the Kai Havertz still. It's not going away. It's just not going away. And the fact that Chelsea is still being linked with it, the fact Chelsea are now being linked up potentially, just laying the money. I just think personally it is just the money thing. Chelsea just need to throw that money down. Money talks. It's always spoken. Once we've done that, then you're going to see what, then it's going to be in Dortmund's hands. And I just think for Dortmund, it's a no-brainer. You're going to make double the money that you're not going to make next year on him. All right, relevant that you want to keep him. It just doesn't make any sense when you're being offered the level of money that Chelsea are putting forward. So I just think it's down to Chelsea to lay the money. And once they do that, then I really do think he'll be coming over to Chelsea.
There we go. Listen, Jem, pleasure as always.
No worries, bro.
Mate, speak to you soon. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Listen, sorry for my little rant about it's not even journalists that around transfer journalists that are bothering me. It's the lack of clarity we never get. Like the next time someone says, "Yeah, this situation is not advanced," I'm like, "Yo, what does advanced mean to you?" Like when someone says player X is world class, I want to know what they perceive world class to be, so I understand the level they're at. That's all it comes down to. What does not advanced mean? Oh, it just means that they're not ready to sign the contracts. Oh, so it's quite a long way into the process then, right? It's because you could literally have what Fabrizio thinks is advanced, what Matt Law thinks is advanced, and what Dean Jones thinks is advanced, all being completely different, but they all use the same word. So they all use the same word, but that actually could mean that the three different transfers are at completely different stages. I look at myself this way. When I think of done deal, I think that in my head, that's the two clubs agreeing to what a fee and structure would look like. Personal terms is a different element. Personal terms agreed is that being done. And then there's a deal being complete, finalized. I differentiate all three of those processes due to my background. But there could be someone else that looks at a done deal as that's when he's holding the shirt. If you get wrong, that's just interpretations of how things have been worked out. So I just want to understand what people mean and think and feel. Saul Niguez update. So I spoke to a number of journalists yesterday about this situation. Of course, we had Peter O'Rourke, former Sky and ESPN journalist, now freelancing, who spoke with the representatives of Saul Niguez yesterday. Chelsea, PSG, Man United are all interested, but Liverpool have made the first real concrete approach. Saul Niguez, is he open to joining Liverpool Football Club? Absolutely. But he is aware of the interest from Chelsea, from PSG, and from Manchester United. Those clubs may intensify their approach at any time. However, it is in Liverpool's hands right now. Liverpool Football Club have negotiated, of course, via intermediaries. So again, the tier ones will say no formal contact between clubs, no formal bid has been put in, no official bid has been put in, so nothing's really happening. It's all done through intermediaries. Liverpool and Atletico Madrid have agreed on a fee. have agreed on a fee. Now, it depends on who you listen to, but it's around 40 million euros with bonuses rising up to around 50 million euros. That is in and around what's been reported. It couples with what I've been told. It couples with a lot of things that Pete got updated on from the representatives of Saul Niguez. The Saul Niguez deal is in Liverpool's hands. The Saul Niguez deal is for Liverpool to complete or for Liverpool to lose because they're leading the race. If they do not make the right offer into Saul Niguez, if they do not act on this opening that they have and a Chelsea or a PSG or a Man United sweep in, it can only be it's FSG that are accountable for this. It's a simple and it's a straightforward for that. They lead the race. They're the favourites to get in right now. The player would like to join them. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. But he is aware of other clubs being interested. And maybe Man United resolve their Pogba situation, decide to sell him, and they start looking at Saul Niguez. The last thing Liverpool want to do is allow a Premier League or even a European rival to slip in here. You were talking about an 80 to 90 million pound valued football player being attainable for 50% of his market value at a great age of 26 that could walk in and dominate the left-hand side of your midfield three to epic. Like, what a replacement for Gini Wijnaldum this could be. Liverpool have done great work to get themselves into this situation. They've acted rather quickly in many ways to get themselves into this position with the club, Atletico Madrid. The player is willing to join. It's in Liverpool's hands. It's simply and utterly up to them now to get the offer into Saul Niguez, which he deems to be acceptable, and then to make the bid official. The longer Liverpool leave it, the more chance there is they could miss out on this deal. But they've got a done deal with Atletico around price. They've got great signs from the player. They still need to finalize the personal terms, but the quicker they act on this, the better from their point of view. We do have another update coming later on today in relation to Liverpool. Still haven't had the green light for the information to be able to share it with you. Once I get that later on today, it's about another midfielder potentially joining Anfield this summer. And maybe this deal is what's holding up the Saul Niguez situation as well. So very, very intrigued to see what goes on here. Scott here, one of our members, says, if the price is right, FSG will get him. Marble Halls says Saul Niguez would be boss levels at Liverpool. Yeah, he would. He's an absolute sensational football player. There is no doubt about it. Saul Niguez is on holiday. I know he's on holiday. And again, this is semantics. Agreeing personal terms doesn't need him and Klopp to sit down and talk. It can be done for it. You could be on holiday, bruv, and just take a 10-minute call from your agent. No disrespect, Saul Niguez's family are not going to mind. This is about a gargantuan move. Moving to the Premier League and moving to a team like Liverpool changes Saul Niguez's life. Financially, commercially, and from a recognizable point of view. I think Saul Niguez, honestly, could walk through 5 or 6 city centres in England and not be recognized on a number of occasions. Because most people are not watching Atletico and Spain playing the regs. He joins Liverpool Football Club. Within 12 months, he becomes a global superstar, Beatlemania. This changed his life. He's taking calls on this deal if he's sitting on a beach, bruv, sitting by the pool. I don't know if he's got kids. He might have. But I'm sure he's not just... I'm sure there's enough people there to help him. But listen, I've got to go and take a call because Liverpool are offering me a contract. I got to listen to what they've got to say. I also was told as well that Atletico Madrid have given permission for Liverpool to speak to the agent and the player directly as well. That's what I was also informed about yesterday because Atletico want to sell him, so they're happy to allow the clubs to speak directly. Atletico need to sell for financial reasons. Super Chat here says, Saul is a beast. I will say we will win the Premier League if we sign him and the rest of the team stay healthy. Saul, Fabinho and Thiago, we can compete with anyone. Listen, bro, if you sign him, it's next levels. It's next levels for Liverpool. He's such an... I couldn't even believe he only got 19 caps. The guy walks into every single midfield in the Premier League, in the Prem, hands down. He is out of this world. Next on the show, we're going to get Just Looking onto the terrace to have his say. Morning, welcome back. Could you remind everyone who you support, please?
Yo, I'm for Chelsea.
Hello?
I'm for Chelsea.
Chelsea, lovely. Yeah, what do you want? First of all, what do you want to? What's your thoughts on this Haaland situation this morning?
Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to call in about. I was thinking, of course, I want Haaland or whatever. or take Lukaku. But I think if we don't sign anybody, I don't think Chelsea fans should panic in it. And I do think we can sign him if we put in the bid. But if we don't sign him, I don't think it'll be such a horrible thing, because I think if we replicated the form that we had under Tuchel, like from the time he came in, that we'll challenge anyway. And I think Kai Havertz up top for the whole season could get at least 20 goals in the Prem.
Yeah, I mean the false nine thing. I get a little feeling that maybe if you don't sign Haaland, you'll look to strengthen another position that's high on the priority list, and maybe use false nines next year, and then retry and sign a year later. Speaking of midfielders, you are linked with. I know this for a fact that Saul Niguez's representatives have told everybody that Chelsea have made inquiries about him this summer. Would you like Saul Niguez at Chelsea?
I'm not exactly sure if we need Saul Niguez, because of the midfield that we do have. But honestly, I don't watch the Liga like that. So who knows? He could be a huge upgrade on some of the midfielders we have, but I actually just don't know. But look, I'm gotta go. My baby just woke up,
Okay, mate. I hear you. Top man,
right.
thanks very much for coming on, bro, and having your say. Let's take a look at the big question, the poll that's out right now. 48% of you think that Haaland would score next season at Chelsea between 21 and 35 goals. I have to be honest, I agree with the 15% of you that have said he'll score above 36. I think he'll score a lot of goals. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Terry, which club needs Saul Niguez the most? Liverpool and Man United are about on par. Chelsea's midfield is amazing. City's midfield is very, very good. I'm only going to name clubs that could realistically get him. Spurs could do with him. I don't think they're paying the wages. Arsenal, they're not guessing him. He's not going to Arsenal. He's not going Spurs either. No Champions League football. I would say Man United and Liverpool need him the most, in my opinion. Great question there, my friend. Great question. By the way, this afternoon, our stream, unless there's any big transfer news, we're going to be doing a tiering show. We're going to be tiering either this afternoon or this evening the best players at Euro 2020. We're going to be picking an 11, but we're going to be tiering them. So make sure you're tuning in tonight. We haven't done a tiering show in a long time on the terrace. We're going to do that this evening. So make sure you're tuning in to tier your favorite players from Euro 2020. Let's go to a few more comments here. One here says, we need a DM. Yeah, I hear you on that, but I don't think you need one now. But maybe. Declan Rice is your guy. A lot of Chelsea fans don't like Declan Rice. I don't really understand it. I think Declan Rice is brilliant. Do I think he's worth 80, 90 million? No, I don't think any DM is worth that much money, if I'm being honest. Let's have a little look here for some of these comments. Terry, need him. United need him the most. Liverpool have Fabinho, Coutinho, Hendo, Curtis Jones, Ox, Naby Keita, and Milner. Milner's past it. Naby Keita is always injured. Ox, get rid. So they've got 4 there, right? In Hendo, Thiago, Fabinho, Curtis Jones. Thiago's towards the end of his career as well. So you take him off that list, they've got 3. They've got 3 players for a bit of now and the future. Hendo, what's he, 30 odd now? They've got to start looking beyond. They've got to start looking beyond that midfield now. And they don't want to go. They've gone stale up front, Liverpool. You don't want to go stale in the midfield as well. And the midfield wasn't even that great last year as soon as you took Fabinho out of it. So I think Liverpool definitely need some work in the middle. Man United need a midfielder more. I'm not denying that. But I do think Liverpool need to look at it at the same time. Let's have a look. Fabinho is 29 as well. There we go. Can't wait for the show. Appreciate that. Terry, what do you think the chances are of Saul joining Liverpool? I think the chances are high as long as FSG back Klopp. I think FSG need to back Klopp. They need to put the money where their mouth is. Klopp clearly wants him. I'm just worried. I'm not worried about it. I'm a Man United fan. I would be worried about it as a Liverpool fan from the perspective of the owner. What are the owners going to do? What are FSG going to do? Because imagine how Liverpool will feel. A few people saying that Fabinho is only 26. Fair enough. I don't know what the age is. I just read a comment. Apologies if it's wrong. I just get a horrible feeling that FSG are going to try madness here, and they're going to do all the groundwork on Niguez, but then just not offer him a deal that he deems and finds acceptable, which would just be criminal, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely ghastly and criminal for that to be done. Ugh, it'd be awful. But I think there's a good chance. I think there's a very good chance. Liverpool cannot afford to go into next season without, forget the money, because you can pick up bargains like this. If Liverpool start next season and they haven't improved the midfield or the attack with quality, forget price, but quality players, there's no way you're winning the league. Not in a month of Sundays, because City and Chelsea are going to improve. Man United are going to improve. You can't just sit there and watch the parade go by. You did that last summer. And yes, there was injuries that of course didn't help, but you might get injuries this year. And you can't, like, I look at it this way, right, Liam? Man United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, you can't just, we can win the league as long as we don't get an injury or two. You can always get an injury or two. So your club need to mitigate that risk, offset that risk by improving your squad and making it deeper. You can have an odd season where it goes wrong because of injury, but that can't be the excuse every year. If you don't sign quality and you get Mo Salah is out for a lot of this season, along with this time Fabinho, then maybe you won't win the league again. That's not acceptable, though. That isn't acceptable for one of the richest football teams in the world to have 2 or 3 injuries and then for the squad to not be deep enough. So I'm not saying it's Klopp's fault per se, but it's the club's fault. So for me, if I'm a Liverpool fan now, there's got to be a lot of pressure put on FSG to get these signings done. Would I swap Saul Niguez for Pogba? I would prefer to keep Paul Pogba. But if Paul Pogba wants to leave and Saul Niguez was the replacement, now they're not like-for-like football players, but there isn't a like-for-like swap for Paul Pogba. It's about going in a different direction. Saul Niguez would be immense. Saul Niguez would be a beyond stellar signing for Manchester United. He would be out of this world. I would just be sad to see Pogba leave, but you wouldn't see me crying. You wouldn't see me angry. You wouldn't see me again. A bit like my comments about FSG. Where I'll be annoyed about Pogba leaving is if the replacement isn't of high quality. If Pogba leaves and Lee Catamol comes in, Mark Noble comes in, Scott McTominay's brother comes in, then I'm frustrated. Outside of that, I don't care, bruv. Like, this Ollie Outer notion, the stupidity I hear from people. If Pogba believes the club's finished forever. So basically, Man United got 5 years left, 6 years left at the top. Because when Pogba's too old, your logic still reigns true, right? Idiot. Idiot, bruv. Sometimes people's takes on football, you say it out loud and then you apply the thinnest layer of key stage 1 logic to it, and you're like, yeah, that's really, really dumb. Dumb. Terry, thoughts on Fred balling out the Copa America without McTominay and Ollie? Good question. I've watched a little bit of Copa America. The overall standard is very low. Slower pace game. He's doing well. I look at it this way. Podolski and Miroslav Klose are 2 of the greatest international players I've seen on a European and world scale when they play for Germany. I never saw that level of performance from them for their club team. There are some players that you've got someone like Schick, who just had a wicked Euros. You think he's going to perform like that week in, week out for a club? No. Fred is a good player. He is a good player. He's done some great things for United. We spoke about him yesterday. Defensively, so underrated. My only issue with Fred, his passing range isn't quite at the level I want it to be, and him not being press resistant in the Premier League has nothing to do with McTominay and has nothing to a degree to do with Ollie. The irony is people want us to get a more progressive manager who plays out from the back more and plays a better build-up of football. If you're not press resistant, you're going to be exposed even more. Like, So we just need better. It's not about McTominay and it isn't about Ollie. It's about Fred. Is Fred good enough? Like people want to I'm just going to protect Fred by blaming everyone who's around him. Nah, let's be strong adults here. Let's be strong adults here. Fred's misgivings are Fred's misgivings and they're his mistakes. The mistake it's literally with Fred. The only time I'm annoyed at him is when he loses that ball in his own half. And he does it a lot for me, far too often for me, in dangerous situations and areas. And his passing's all right, but we could do it better. But I also think we need better than McTominay. Like, I'm not protecting either of them. You know, I find it weird. I find it weird because we've seen Fred struggle at Man United with and without McTominay. We've seen McTominay struggle at Man United with and without Fred. And I almost guarantee you this. Get rid of Ollie tomorrow and bring in Maurizio Pochettino, and the flaws of those two players will still ring through. I keep hearing our squad's good enough to do this and good enough to do that. It isn't. Do you know how I know these people are lying about how good rivals can think it's good enough? And that's fine. I don't care. If our squad's good enough to win the league, then why does everyone panic it? Need a CDM. The same fucking people that keep telling us, oh my days, I'm triggered. The same people that keep telling us, we need a centre back. We need a CDM. We need more cover at fullback. We need to sort out the goalie situation. We can't play McTominay. AWB isn't good enough. Lindelof isn't good enough. McFred are not good enough. Matic is past it. No. They keep telling us our squad's good enough to win the Champions League and League. How? When you slag 50, 60% of it off. Oh, my God. Your squad can challenge, but with Ollie, you ain't winning the league. But, yeah. But I don't want it to challenge. Like, what you said there can be true, but that doesn't mean not so much forgive the players, because I'm not angry with the players for not being good enough, but it doesn't mean I don't want a better squad. I can want a better squad with or without Ollie being the manager. Again, they're not mutually exclusive. It's like, I only want a better squad if Ollie's gone. I just want a better squad. And it's beyond Ollie. I want us to have a club direction. Do you know, I do fluctuate as to whether or not I think sacking Ollie right now is the right thing for the club. My view is very much this. I don't trust still that we're going to steer the ship in the same direction. Thus, I think sacking Ollie could be pointless because we'll be back here in 2 or 3 years' time. If I became more confident, and this is why I get annoyed at the Ollie out debate, if I was confident that the club would appoint the right manager, and when I say right manager, I'm not talking about the name we all want. I'm talking about a manager that's going to pick up the project that's been at work now for getting towards 3 years and continue in that direction, but coach and manage the team better. That's all we need. I'm scared of another overhaul. I'm scared of a manager doing what you all ask for and ridding us of 8, 9, 10 players from our first team squad and bringing in more players, because that tells me that what we've been doing in the last 2 years isn't good enough. I want a manager that comes in and says, you know what? I want one new midfielder and I want a brand new number 9 that's not as old as Cavani. I want 1 or 2 players of your main 15, 16 out, and that's it. But the style of football is going to progress in the same manner as it's been started. The man management will be fairly similar. The ethos and the culture and the work ethic needs to remain the same. That's what we need to. Like, I honestly see natural progression from a Lampard to a Tuchel. Tuchel's just better at explaining and managing the situation to bring it to life. I don't like the style of footballers that Sarri, Lampard, and Tuchel use. I don't think are overtly different from one another. You know, sometimes you can get 3 people that can buy the same outfit, but one person just wears it better. Maybe they're more comfortable in their skin. Maybe their body shape just works slightly better. I was like, you all wear the same clothes, but man, number like C, you there, A, B, C, you just look drippy. A, you just look like you shouldn't be wearing them clothes, but you all wearing the same thing. That's kind of how I view these things here. And I just sort of feel like, from my point of view, I totally agree and believe with Ollie Outers that I don't think he's good enough to win us major trophies. But I'm not convinced yet that the club should sack him based on the fear of overhauls again. And I don't think we need an overhaul. I think the squad still isn't good enough, but we need to continue in that direction. Whatever the profile of player is, the new manager that comes in shouldn't be looking to change massive things. If he is, we're fucked. Not because that manager wants to change us, but because it proves we never see a project through. And if we don't see a project through, what gives you any belief that a new manager 5 times on the bounce is going to be able to finish his project and then the club continues with it after him? That's why it's stupid. That's why it's dumb. It's a pointless debate. The debate should be, are you confident that the club's going to continue to steer the ship in the same direction? Same profile of player, same culture, same work ethic, same ethos, no player power. Maybe not same style of football per se, but making Ollie... Imagine you can make Ollie's style more penetrative and a little bit prettier looking. I imagine you can give it a little bit of a makeover. And we move the ball a little bit faster, there's a little bit more movement, and we score an extra 0.5 goals per game. I think everyone would go, yeah, it's great. So you don't need... Do you get where I'm coming from here, people? That's what I'm saying. Until someone's confident that that is what will happen, I'm scared of sacking the manager because I'm more scared of it regressing us than I am it improving us. Because interestingly, with each managerial appointment we had, up until Ollie, by the end of their run, we'd gone backwards. So forget the peak. The peak's great, but where were we when they left? We were further down. We were further away from where we wanted to be, from a football point of view, from a squad perspective. Happiness and a kind of a harmonious environment, fans being happy, horrible levels of toxicity in the dressing room. That bit just gets forgotten about all the time. New Ty said there's no style of football. There is, you just don't like it. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely a style of football. It's been proven. So that, again, that's a pointless debate. Forget that. Because you could bring a new manager in who has a style of football that we all recognize, but it's about whether you like how it looks. Let's not get it twisted. Football fans talk style. Do you enjoy it? Yes or no? I don't really care about enjoying the style of football when it comes to my own team. I just want to win. Have I enjoyed all of England's football this tournament? No. Am I buzzing? Yes. It's all that matters. That isn't the argument. People always try and muddy the argument with like, but I want to enjoy it. I want to be excited. I want to forget all that. Do you believe the club is in the right position to change managers and continue in the direction that we've been going in? Or do you think they're going to do... because Antonio Conte, for me, is a standout example of we're going to go backwards before we potentially move forward. But that would mean 5 times running, we've gone backwards to start again. We start to build up, and then we go in a new direction. So I worry. I really do worry. By the way, I think Antonio Conte is a brilliant manager. And if he was to come in and say, listen, this squad... 1 extra player is what I need, and I can start winning you titles. I'll be kind of happy with that. I'll be kind of happy with it. I just don't think it's the case. But there we go. Terry, morning. Can anyone say what Fergie's style was? I don't think he had a specific style to play, really. I think you mean Fergie. I mean, Fergie, look, it was wide wing play was a big part of what he used to do. I used to think we were a massive counter-attack team, especially against big teams. Very direct football inside. We weren't a tiki-taka team. We didn't make hundreds and hundreds of passes per game. You know, we weren't. We were very direct. Used a lot of wide play, a lot of balls into the box. That's what it was. I think what's interesting is that it's the whole style argument comes down to, are you enjoying it? I think what's really interesting as well is, I'll give you Tuchel's a prime example. Tuchel was 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 at times last season, which is 5 at the back. However, because it was Tuchel and people were enjoying it and people liked Tuchel, no one called it negative or defensive. England start with 3 at the back. No one likes Southgate. Hello, big boy. Hello, big girl. Like, so from their point of view, the kids came in to say hello. So it just becomes one of them things where I sort of sit there and think, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. When Tuchel plays 3 at the back, people call it 3 at the back. When a manager we don't like or we don't respect plays 3 at the back, we say it's negative and he's got 5 defenders on the pitch. We then look at the 2 DMs and go, oh, we've got 7 defensive players on the pitch. Tuchel does it. Germany do it. The Danes do it. And it's, oh, look at that, 3 at the back. Only 3 defenders in the team. What a risky progressive side they are. It's, for me, I just look at it and I sit back and I'm like, am I living in the real world here? Equally, the people that say there's no style of play contradict themselves. I'm going to just leave you with this mic drop bomb. I've seen people tweet this and say this on their streams, say this in spaces, tweet, Insta post these things. Not at the same time, but over the course of time. And when I start seeing it next season, I will start exposing the hypocrisy and lies. How can you state there's no system and at the same time say the reason that Bruno Fernandes scores so many goals is because Ollie's system allows him to be the final piece of the jigsaw that's putting the ball in the back of the net? If there's no system, then Ollie's system cannot be what helps Bruno Fernandes, because there is no system. It's all on Bruno Fernandes, which means it's his sheer quality and brilliance that scores him all these goals. When Martial does things for Ollie, it's Martial's brilliance. When Bruno does things for Ollie, no, it's the system that suits him. But if there's no system, how can anything suit him? The hypocrisy is why I cannot listen to them anymore, because they make one point that makes sense, and 2 days later they make another point that also makes sense. But when you put the two things together, you're like, you cannot be the same. You must have 4 people using your Twitter account. It has to be 4 people. But there we go. You can't defend Lampard. He said this team wasn't ready to win. We're going to sell. He was going to sell Kante, Jorginho, Rudiger, Christensen. I'm not defending Lampard. Lampard wasn't a good enough already manager. I'm simply stating that the players that he was targeting and looking at, they're pretty much in the, like, he wanted Declan Rice. Tuchel wants Declan Rice as an example. He just wasn't ready for the job yet. It would come too soon for him. The biggest issue we say, wasn't ready to win. He didn't know how to manage. For me, that statement was terrible for team morale. It was a huge mistake by Lampard. But the profile of player, the style of player, I think is fairly similar in terms of natural progression. There's always going to be a difference with every new manager. There's always going to be a nuance and a change here and there in style. But Tuchel's not looking to overhaul your squad, is he? That's a proper appointment. And if Man United could do a Tuchel and someone come in and say, listen, I am going to want a new midfielder, but I can make this team win the Premier Champions League, then I'll be supportive of it. The new manager wants to come in and say, I need 15 new players in the next few years, and it's going to be like experimenting from day one and everything else. I don't want that. I don't think it's the right move. And that's not about protecting Ollie. It's about what I think is how it's going to damage the football club in the medium to long term. I'm basing mine on what we've done 4 times already, as opposed to, this time it might just be okay. Do you know what I mean? If a plumber comes to my house to fit my bathroom and every time he turns up, something else leaks, I'm not going to keep asking him to come back and work on my house. So until I see continual change, and we have changed things at the club in the last 3 or 4 years, until I'm confident that we will stick with these changes after Ollie, then I'm 100% supportive of a new manager. That's my stance on it. I can't yield from it. Terry speaking sense. I appreciate the super chat. Said thank you very, very much indeed. And listen, Ollie outers and Ollie inners, they're entitled to their opinions. I respect their opinions to a degree. I just find so much contradiction. Like Ollie inners. What's the point of getting a world-class manager? We tried that and it didn't work. Again, you're also not looking at what the problem is. We brought in world-class managers who had to restart from scratch and rip up everything that was there before them. And just as they start building, you pull the rug from underneath their feet. That's why I don't trust a new manager coming in, because of what we've done each time. Think about it. You know what I mean? Glazers out, they're ruining the club. Yeah, you want them to do this? Oh, it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, it makes no sense in my brain. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Make sure that like button's been hit. Make sure you subscribe to The Terrace. Back later today with more content. I've got to take the boy out now because he's got very big in the last year and he needs new clothes. We're going to go clothes shopping. He's an Irish boy, but he's getting an England kit today as well. That's happening. That is happening. Breaking news, Terry. Someone saying that Tavares has been announced. Yeah, it was done days ago, brother. That was done days ago. I'm not surprised that's been announced. Lokonga's medical was done yesterday in the Netherlands. He'll be an Arsenal player announced next week. Ben White closing in. Yeah, brother, we'll be giving you this news. I even had a message from a gal like, bro, you told us this news like a week ago. It's just all the mainstream's picking up on it. I'm like, just start trusting the Done Deal show. Trust the Done Deal show. In 2 years' time, you're going to be like, I was there when that show begun. It's amazing. Until next time, everyone, listen, love you all very much from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the sport this weekend if you're not on any more streams of the Terrace, but we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.